So you've spent all this time in the classroom, right? You've got the grammar down, you've memorized the vocabulary, but then you step out into the real world and suddenly English sounds completely different. Well, you are not alone. Today, we're going to go way beyond the textbook and build a digital toolkit to finally bridge that gap. Let's start with a feeling that I bet is pretty familiar. You know that feeling, right? You're watching a movie, maybe a news clip, and all of a sudden the words just melt together into this blur. You know you've studied this stuff, you know the vocabulary, but you just can't quite catch what they're saying. It's super frustrating, and trust me, it's a hurdle for so many learners out there. And that right there, that's the heart of the problem. It's this huge gap between the slow, careful, structured English you find in textbooks and the fast, messy, nuanced English that people actually speak in the real world. Honestly, sometimes they can feel like two completely different languages. But what's the fix? Is it just more grammar books? Probably not. What if the key is to totally change your approach? The solution, really, is getting your hands on the right digital tools. Tools specifically designed to help you decode and master authentic, real-world English. All right, first up, let's talk about decoding nuance. Because to really sound natural, you have to know which word to use and when to use it. So we're going to look at a tool that goes way, way beyond a simple dictionary. Okay, let's take a look at a classic pair of words that trips up a ton of learners: violate and contravene. Now, on the surface, they look almost identical, right? You might see them in formal or legal writing, but how in the world do you know which one to choose? So what do? You open up a dictionary, right? And what do you find? Definitions that say something like, to break a law or rule. Honestly, just reading these, it's almost impossible to see any real difference. And this is exactly where those traditional learning methods just fall short. But this is where a tool called Scale completely changes the game. It uses something called a corpus, which is just a fancy word for a huge database of real language, to show us how words are actually used. It finds common collocations, which are just words that naturally hang out together. And look, we see violate almost always pairs with law, while contravene pairs with act. And boom, just like that, the nuance is crystal clear. Contravene is much more specific and technical. And if that wasn't clear enough, check this out. We look at the data from another tool called Coca, and the difference is just, wow. Just look at this chart. Violate is overwhelmingly more common. So here's the key takeaway. While both might be technically correct, violate is the natural, versatile word you're going to hear and use most of the time. Okay, let's make sure this idea really sticks. We'll try another pair, a much simpler one this time. Paddle versus row. They both mean moving a boat with some kind of stick, but can you really use them interchangeably? And again, a quick look at Scale's word sketch feature gives us the answer like instantly. We see people paddle a canoe or a kayak, but they row a boat or a gondola. See, these aren't some strict grammar rules you have to memorize. They're just patterns of natural use that these amazing tools reveal in a second. Okay, so we've got a handle on word choice. Now what about the sound of real-world English? The speed, the rhythm, the pronunciation, all the stuff you just don't get from a textbook. Let me introduce you to your new secret weapon for listening practice. It's called Youglish. The idea is so simple, it's brilliant. You just search for any word or phrase, and it instantly finds hundreds of real YouTube clips where native speakers are saying that exact thing. You get to hear it in context, in everything from a casual interview to a formal presentation. And here's where Youglish is an absolute lifesaver, with idioms and slang. Imagine you're watching a TV show, and you hear this phrase, put a hit out on. The words themselves are simple, right? Put, hit, on. But the meaning, it's a total mystery. With Youglish, you could watch a few clips and immediately figure out it's slang for ordering someone to be killed. But wait, Youglish gives you more than just context. It gives you data. Look at the hit count for this phrase. We see 23 results in American English, but only 2 in British English. What does that tell you? Instantly, you know this is a very American expression, which is super helpful for understanding those regional differences. Okay, next up. What if you could take basically any article on the internet, something you're already interested in, and turn it into a personalized listening lesson? Well, you can, with a fantastic and often overlooked feature that's built right into the Microsoft Edge browser. This Read Aloud feature is honestly a total game changer. The voices are incredibly natural, not robotic at all. You can pick a US or a UK accent, but here's the best part. You control the speed. You can start slow and then crank it up as you get more comfortable. And because it highlights each word as it reads, you're connecting the sound to the text in real time. And finally, let's get into the really cool stuff. Let's see how AI can create a truly custom learning experience, turning content you already love into the perfect English lesson. This is NotebookLM from Google, and it is so easy to use. Step 1. Find any YouTube video you're interested in. It could be a news report in Spanish, a documentary in Japanese, whatever. Step 2. Paste the link. And step 3, just ask it to create an audio overview for you in English. And the result? It's pretty incredible. It is not some robotic summary. What you get is a natural conversational dialogue. It literally sounds like you're listening to two smart people just discussing the main points of the video. It's super engaging listening practice, and it can be about any topic you find interesting. So let's pull all of this together. With these tools, you now have a complete digital toolkit to finally move beyond the textbook and start mastering real-world English. So this is your new toolkit. For mastering the nuance of word choice, you've got Skell and Coca. To understand how people actually sound, you've got Youglish. For basically infinite listening practice on any topic you want, there's Edge Read Aloud. And to create your own advanced lessons from any video, you've got NotebookLM. At the end of the day, fluency isn't about finding some magic textbook. It's about building the right habits with really powerful tools. So, now that you have the toolkit, the only question left is this: what new learning habit are you going to build first?